So we gather here each day on Darren Daily to learn, to grow, to become, you got it, better every day. Well then, I think it's time we address the topic of how to learn better. How to not just consume information, but to actually learn from it. Not just know something, but be able to use it, to grow because of it, and yes, become better every day with it. Unfortunately, people have a false belief about learning. They think that it is a factor of IQ or some immutable trait like eye color. You get what you got and that's all. You are either born a quick learner or you're not. But that is not true at all. While some might find it easier, just like some find talking to people easier, everyone can do both with the right training and practice. Know this for sure. Research has proven time and time again that learners are made, not born. So here are 8 tips that will significantly improve your learning capacity. First off, you need to become comfortable with the struggle of learning, the struggle that comes with learning anything new. In our overly convenient instant access to information world that we live in today, we have become insanely lazy. Anything that requires us to try hard or think deeply almost seems like a violation, like having to do long-form math when we have a calculator on our phone. As soon as something gets hard, we give up. Why bother when we can just Google it or yell, "Alexa!" When you are learning something new, your brain is physically being rewired. It's working hard. The brain is having to break new ground and pave new pathways. It's literally building new neurotransmitters and connections in your gray matter. This is essentially the equivalent of your brain muscle doing the bicep curls it needs in the gym. In the moment, it might be painful, but the pain is what creates the gain of learning growth. Number 2, become more curious. School mostly rooted out all of our natural curiosity. You were given rules and told what to study and what would be on the test. You were fed the questions versus forcing you to come up with your own. The goal was to be right, to solve for what was already known, not to discover anything new. You have to break that pattern. Start questioning everything. Ask better questions. Challenge all assumptions and stop with the presumptions. And number 3, you have to have a goal for learning, a focus. What exactly are you trying to learn? We are swimming in a sea of information inputs, and all that we see and all that we hear is bombarding us, and our mind is constantly processing the data. But without a focus, our reticular activating system is intentionally filtering it all out, deleting it so that it doesn't fry our system. You have to tell that reticular activating system what it is that you want it to see, what it is that you want it to learn, so that it will find it for you, show it to you, and store it for you. Consider like giving instructions to Google. Without telling it what it is that you're looking for, it just stares back at you with a blank white screen. Now, when you do give it a learning goal, wow, it's even better than Google. Recently, I was struggling with a product logo for something that I'm working on. I told my Raz to be on the lookout for new ideas. And sure enough, I was driving down the highway, and just as I looked left, I caught a millisecond flash of a billboard with 2 shapes that came together that gave me the inspiration that I needed. Now, I never would have seen that if I hadn't typed that into the search of my Raz system. Number 4, learn in focused sessions. Studies prove that concentrated sessions of 30 to 90 minutes learning new material is best. Anything less is just not enough to cement the learning in, and anything more is too much for your brain to take in at one time. If you do have to keep studying, it requires you to take 5 to 10 minute breaks before resetting to go again. This is why I do a 30-minute focused learning session every morning. After my Darren Daily, it is usually focused on whatever book that I'm studying at the moment. 30 minutes, no less, and for me in my morning routine, no more. Number 5, spaced repetition. What do you think would be better? Watering your lawn once a week for 90 minutes or 3 times a week for 30 minutes at a time? Yeah, spacing out the watering over the week will produce a greener growing lawn, and so too will it produce a greener growing mind. When you learn a little bit at a time, it gives those neurotransmitters enough time to reset themselves. Number 6, go deep versus wide. We've talked about this before, but it is much better to go deep on one subject than shallow on a wide range of disconnected topics. Additionally, you want to avoid overlearning. subjecting your brain to all sorts of unimportant, non-purposeful, non-useful now information. It just overwhelms it, and it actually stunts the learning process and the ability to retain anything. This is kind of like overtraining a muscle. You take it from muscle building to muscle destroying. The muscle actually starts to break itself down, which, by the way, is what people are doing all day on social media. Everything I'm describing on how to learn is exactly against the behavior of all internet and social media reading. Number 7, reflect, revisit, and review to improve. If you really want to learn and retain something, it requires revisiting and reviewing several times. Our brain actually pays less attention the first time we are experiencing anything. Repeating information over longer intervals sends a stronger signal to the brain that says, hey, we're serious about this. Please store this in the ready to recall drawer. And like any new path, you have to travel it over and over until the pathway becomes worn. That's what's going on inside your noggin. And number 8, teach someone else. You don't really know something until you can explain it convincingly to somebody else. My poor wife, she often needs to hear me try to make sense of the ideas or concepts that I want to teach you here. I test them out on her first. If I cannot make it make sense to her, then I definitely haven't learned it well enough to myself yet, and I have to go back to the drawing board. She sends me, which is usually most of the time. Getting what you think you know in your head out of your mouth and into the cognitive understanding of another human being is a whole other level of knowing what you are talking about. By the way, that is how I've gotten so freaking smart. I've had to learn all this stuff so well that I could hopefully explain it coherently to you. And now I have given you the 8-point formula for you to do the same. Never stop learning and never stop pursuing better every day.
Hi there, Darren Daily friends. Allie from the A-Team here. Well, I hope you wrote down all 8 of those fantastic tips for learning better. I know I did. And for those insatiable learners out there, Darren has an upcoming event that I know you will not want to miss. Now, in just 2 weeks, Darren will be hosting his live virtual business masterclass. Now, there are only a few seats left, so I wanted to make sure that those of you here on Darren Daily got first dibs on those because I know that you all love to learn. Am I right? So if you are an unusually driven business leader or a CEO and you are ready to skyrocket your learning, click the link at the end of this video and inquire about the Business Masterclass before it's too late.